While the questions are coming in, since we do have a couple people that may not know. Oh, look at that! Look at us, YDCB. Look at that.
Oh no, I'm
Wow!
yo,
Wow! Sellout.
small advertisement. Nah,
Yeah,
I'm
small.
out my window. I was trying to do that.
Wow, dude! Wow! How much did he pay you to do that? Seriously? No one's even watching, bro. It's cool. Just
That was about 10K fucks right there from his.
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what. So now, for those that don't know you from my Twitch page or Twitch or YouTube channel, why don't you do like a quick introduction here for the community that don't know your background and whatnot, since you're relatively new to the scene.
Okay, I guess my name is Z. People call me Brian. They call me Z. I've been playing Summoners War since the beginning. Since like day one of it coming out. Since they had one server. I moved over to the Asia server when they had that opportunity to, and I never regretted it. I'm currently in Delicious 2. Despite a lot of people thinking it's not as strong as Delicious 1, it is now stronger, or just as strong as Delicious 1. And yeah, I mean, I've been playing since the beginning, so I have quite a bit of knowledge of the game. So yeah, just a little. I live in Hawaii. Let's see what else. I just graduated, so I have a job now. I graduated with an accounting degree. That's about it. That's kind of me in a nutshell, though. Me in a nutshell. Me in a coconut shell.
There you go. Me and a coconut shell. I like that.
There you
go. The first question that we have is from WizRix. He wanted to talk about RTA. He wants to know, what do you think are some of the best 4-star units out there for RTA?
Best 4-star units. In particular, though, there's a lot of LD units that 4-star that are prime for RTA. Currently, I use Mikhail, the light Sliffid, as well as Iris, the light. What is it? The light magic knight. Yeah. I mean, more notable, maybe not LD monsters, can be Chasun. I see a lot of Chasuns out there, as well as Chasuns. What else do we see out there? There's a lot of Nat 5s. I mean, it's hard to say because currently, since I'm a little bit higher in the bracket, it's like all like Nat 5s. Like everybody always chooses Nat 5s instantly, so
right.
It's hard to say for Nat 4s, but definitely Chasun. Your standard bruisers and healers definitely are viable in RTA.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of as far as the damage healers goes. I like Trevor. Trevor's pretty unique. If you have the proper runes. Orion, I used to be really, really addicted to him because of the attack bar boost, but now lately, because I've been really relying on buff removals and the fact that you can't control it, I haven't used him all too much. But and then of course I've gotten a couple units down the road. But yeah, I just recently talked about. I put a video out with regards to RTA and some of my units out there, and it's kind of sad because of the free to play community. I really want to showcase, a lot of units that people can start to use or whatever. But ultimately, it comes down to all the units that can provide you, multiple roles. And I find that, with natural 5-stars, it is what it is. You just kind of have to, use some of those better units out there. It's very, I don't know, jagged, or I don't know what the word is, but it's very, related towards the natural 5-stars. So
yeah, you can definitely see the different tiers of Nat 4s and Nat 5s, and just like their skills on like the different levels that they are. I mean, everybody's just using Nat 5 just for the fact that they're on a totally different level in terms of skills. So it's hard to bring in a lot of Nat 4s, but I mean there are some notable ones if you guys don't have like a bunch of Nat 5s to use. But yeah, for the most part, shove in all your Nat 5s, and then you'll definitely have a decent amount of success. Even like Veramos and stuff, people do underestimate that. So all those Nat 5s that you can easily fuse definitely are usable here.
Gotcha.
I even use Fire Panda, so
hey, whatever works.
I love it.
I like Fire Panda. Fire Panda's good.
Yeah.
The next question they have, we got a person that utilizes Ragdoll, but he wanted to know what your thought process is on using Ragdoll for the arena defense. How would you go about ruining it?
I would pretty much make it tanky. I mean, its main purpose is its passive Ragdoll, which increases attack bar when anybody gets crit. So you want him to survive, right? He doesn't necessarily need to be somebody that dishes out damage. He can be, but his main role is kind of to survive and get that attack bar increase so the rest of the team can move. If I had a ragdoll, which I don't, I would definitely rune it kind of in the tankier field, and I would go to make a stall AD. For most people, I suggest stall ADs because that's going to be the best way for you to progress your rank. What I mean by stall AD is put something that you think is gross. You know, something that when people view it and it's the last hour in rush hour, they're going to be like, okay, I really don't want to attack this guy. Don't aim to try to get defense successes. Just aim to make people skip you. Doing that will give you more chance to go ham on your arena offense. And in theory, you should get a higher rank than you normally would. That's my main theory for most ranks.
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah, I can't disagree with you there with regards to ragdoll and the building. Too many people out there that want ragdoll to do everything, but ultimately his passive is too strong not to put more emphasis on the tankiness of it. The next one here, we're talking about the Wind Rift. One of the people have made the argument about what kind of teams you would use, how to Wind Rift without Verd. Do you feel that Verdahill's essential for the Wind Rift? And if so, what would be a common team that maybe you can recommend for some people with common units? What do you think?
Wind Rift. Okay, my knowledge on elemental rifts aren't up to par, I'd say. I kind of just put whatever and do it. But I think Wind Rift, that's the one that you have to out heal, right? And I think you can damage the boss by healing. I noticed lately, when I first did the Wind Rift, I noticed that I used a lot of healers. And I used to try to cleanse that whatever that lightning electricity off, and it actually would do damage to the boss. But lately I found that since I have enough damage, I just bring in a variety of like maybe 1 or 2 healers and the rest like damage dealers, and the boss is actually really squishy. So I think I just go ham on the boss. Let me go see what I actually use.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But in general, I actually used to use a lot of healers, and just healing that thing off really helps.
Gotcha. And to answer quickly here, my chat, guys, I'm going a little bit slower just to make sure I don't miss any questions here. Achroma, this is Zelicious. He's aka islandgrown11 from the Twitch community here. He's hanging out with us today for about an hour. Let's see. Quick question here from Dazlingo. He says, what do you think is the big difference from the Asia server and the global server? Do you think there's a big difference in quality? I mean, that's kind of subjective, but what do you think?
2 words: cash cows. Definitely, Asia server has a lot more cash cows. I mean, people more willing to spend, people who do spend compared to the global server. I think in terms of population, definitely global server is bigger. But Asia server has much more cash cows. That's what usually leads me to saying, okay, I'm not being biased because I'm in the Asia server, but yeah, the Asia server has players who are pretty good. I mean, the global server does as well, but I think overall you might find the average for the Asia server will be a lot higher in terms of player level than the global server.
Okay.
So those are my thoughts on that.
That's a good assessment. I like that. islandgrown11, we got a question from Green Legend 88. He says, what is the most important factor or advice in breaking into Guardian for the first time from C3? An example say, rune quality, is it monster requirements, thought process? What do you think?
So going with that, I mean, you know how I said about stall ADs? That's something you still want to try to focus on. But now you're going to be trying to incorporate more trap stall kind of ADs. People will still want to skip you, but potentially will get trapped. These come in the types of runes with runes like Nemesis and Will. So you're going to want to focus a Necro. And while doing Necro, you're going to be getting those runes. And those are the runes that are going to help you out to push from C3 to Guardian. So definitely get those Nemesis and Will runes. They will definitely help you out to progress up to Guardian, yeah.
Solako says, what is the general minimum amount of monsters to have for the arena, and what are these type? And he puts in parentheses like, is it cleansers, how many cleansers, strippers, so on and so forth. What's your thought process on arena composition?
Let me see here.
I think that's pretty hard to say depending on where you're at and what your goal is. Are you rushing? Are you not rushing? Are you,
I pretty much, I mean, for my offense, I'm kind of lazy. I just use one arena offense. It's just a Tiana Zyros slow cleave, like a double shield, Will, Tiana, and that's it. Like, if I can't clear you with that, I kind of just skip you. But then again, there comes the factor of, since I live in Hawaii, the rush hour is about 3 to 4 a.m. for me. and I already stay up the night before to do Guild War Rush. So I typically never do Arena Rush. Probably about 6 times ever since joining the Asia server. I don't really rush too often. Yeah.
I think I've done it twice, and I might have recorded it once. Yeah, I haven't done too much of it all, and it comes down to, for me, as I work Monday morning at 6 a.m., but I got to get up at like
There you
4:30,
go.
so it's not even
There you
worth my
go.
time to try to hold a high rank or whatever.
Yep.
Let's
Definitely.
see here. So this is probably a common question you get a lot on your stream here. A lot of mid-game players, are constantly working into the, Conquer 1 ranks, struggling to get out of Fighter 3. I'm sure we've heard this answer already. You already got it in your head, but what is probably the biggest or best tip you can give to somebody from trying to break out of Fighter 3 into Conquer 1?
Fighter 3 to Conqueror run. I mean, definitely you want to be farming DB10. I mean, because at that point you're already farming DB10, right? But I can't stress it enough. You want to be farming DB10. You want to be making a one-man defense if during the week. Just farm those glory points. I know sometimes people get lazy. They don't want to do wings. And if you just constantly put a regular defense, you're gonna get ranked higher, right? Which is gonna force you to actually have to do arena. Let's be real. I know you guys are gonna eventually get lazy. So that's why I suggest people one-man defenses. Go easy on yourself. I mean, do those glory points, get those glory points, and go ahead and get those glory towers upped. People underestimate the value of glory towers. So getting those glory towers up, 7, 8, 9, getting them all up definitely will help you out, as well as continuing to farm DB10 will provide you with the violent runes and runes that you need to progress further into the game.
Yeah. And I think the only thing to add to it is violent runes are strong, but ultimately that all depends on what your comp is or what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to do something like a Bernard Megan Devolution or whatnot, obviously you don't need any violent runes there. You just need to get whatever runes that are going to give you the proper stats, the speed to it and whatnot. At the end of the day, Fighter 3 to Conquer 1? You can't really justify where you're going to end up in middle of the week, because again, everyone's kind of different. But if you're really trying to shoot for the rush hour and try to get into that, I think it's ultimately going to come down to how fast you can clear them versus them clearing you. And going back to what Z said, creating that stall type of defense is just going to keep them away from you so that you don't get tacked as much. But when I was climbing up in the ranks, I always had the issue of not being able to clear fast enough to make up for the amount of losses that I get, because my defense, I knew it was lacking. So I just tried to have to make up for it on the offensive side. Let's see. Bird asks, he says, what has been the most funniest and most memorable moment on the stream? Honestly, and I know this is going to sound kind of like, I don't know if the word is cliche or whatnot, but the most memorable moment is moments like this. Any opportunity that I get to communicate with you guys, with various influencers, YouTubers, streamers, this is every moment like this is an amazing moment for you. There's not one moment there. I'm going on, I think, almost 2 years now of the Educate and Dominate series. Over 60 some different guests that I've had on board. So it's been nothing short of amazing. I really appreciate it. So if I haven't said it enough, Brian, thank you again for coming aboard and doing this. He's here
No
7 in the
problem.
morning. 7 in the morning. He's here
It's
for you
8
guys.
actually now. 8:30
Okay,
now.
8 now. So yeah, y'all remember that. What do we got here? So that's my most memorable moment. What about you? Z? What do you think? What's
My
your best moment?
memorable moment was that one time at band camp.
At
I'm
band
just
camp.
kidding. Well,
I knew that.
that one time I streamed collab with Childish. That was probably one of my most memorable
There it
moments.
is.
No, I'm
There
just
it
kidding.
is.
I would say my most memorable moment is he talking about ever on stream? Okay.
He did say on stream. Yeah, on stream.
Had quite a bit of memorable moments on stream. Hence the my first YouTube video that I came out with last week does have all those moments. But I would probably say, out of all those moments, it's hard to say. We've had a lot of good moments, but I would say whenever it's hard to say a specific time on stream, which is my most memorable. Any time on stream where I do once in a while get these feels good moments, as I like to call them, during stream, where somebody will just randomly tell me, some positive feedback about my stream. Like those are the most memorable moments when I feel like I'm actually helping the community, and there's somebody out there that reaches out and just shows me a little bit of appreciation. Those are probably my most memorable moments, because I don't do this for a living, right? I do this recreationally just to help people out and just just for myself. I do want to help people out and entertain people. So when I do hear that, it really motivates me and makes me continue on to stream. So, yeah.
Want to give a quick shout out once again to MV Obedia. I can't pronounce the name, but he did another donation here. He said he had to leave. Thank you so much. I think that was like 2 or 3 donations from him. I really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you all for your support here. Take care and enjoy that coffee, sir. Let's see. Next one up here. He asked me, have I seen the Chasun healing enemy video? Ooh. I haven't. Have you seen that?
I've seen it. It's kind of weird. It's definitely a glitch. I don't know. Is that... I know yesterday when I was playing, there was like some kind of quick update on the phone. I don't know if you saw that, if you got that too. But I don't know if it was for that reason, to fix that or not. But it's kind of weird. The allies, the guy's Chasun, he was using a Leica and a Chasun, and it was versus a Wind Panda, and he was healing his Leica, but it ended up healing the enemy Wind Panda. It was really weird. It was a really weird glitch. Yeah. You should definitely check that out. I don't know if I fixed that
I'm gonna have to. You have to send me a link later. We got a request to say do a Guild War challenge with Z. We can't. We're on 2 different servers, so we won't be able to use our best units. We were actually talking about doing like some kind of an RTA challenge, but his global account, he says it's not as good as his Asia account. So maybe down the road, if you guys are interested, you can contact me, childish402@gmail.com, and we can make arrangements to maybe grab 2 accounts from the community, similar to what you've seen a couple other influencers in the past, and we could do like a little showdown for you all, if you guys are interested.
That's a great idea.
Let's see. We got here the next one that he asked from Solako. He says, if there's one thing you could implement into the game, what would it be and why? And if there was something to remove from the game, what would that be?
I mean, there's a bunch of things that I would say I would like implemented, but probably for selfish reasons, right? And would probably break the game. So it's hard to really, let me see. What would I want implemented into the game? I mean, something small would be where I could be able to do world arenas with, like, let's say Childish right now with my Asia account. That'd be something that I think they could definitely implement, you know? They're already allowing us to do random ranked, I guess you can say, matches with people across servers. They should allow us to add people, make friends cross server as well. I don't know. I mean, it's difficult. A lot of games don't have that, but it would definitely make it kind of unique for Summoners War. So maybe they'll look into doing that. In terms of something that I'd like them to remove, what would I like them to remove? Let's be real. Let's just have them remove crit animations in Arena, and we're good to go.
that's all you need. That's all you need.
Stuff. Yeah, some little stuff. You know, I don't wanna say big things because they add and remove things for a reason. There's a lot of factors people don't think about when they're given suggestions to add or remove things. So I don't want to break the game. I want the game to survive, you know, for a long period of time. I don't know how long it's going to survive. I mean, eventually, games like this usually, you know, sometimes die. So the progress that that Summoners War is having so far has been really good. So I hope it continues on its path and they make good decisions on what they add and remove for the future.
Yeah, it's been a slow and steady process, but they're doing work. They're listening to us, and it's gonna take a little bit longer.
Let's be real. I don't know if they're listening to us.
Vanessa. Oh, you said.
Brandia.
Yeah,
they didn't touch any of that. They didn't touch any of that last patch.
Just think about a year ago where we're at, and look where we're at now, and it's like night and day difference. Even though they haven't fixed everything, they've done a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not trying to be on the defensive side for Conqueror because Lord knows I got a lot of reasons to say otherwise, but they have listened to us despite other games out there that don't even their people are like as a joke. So
yeah, that's true.
But let's see here. We got a couple other questions here. From Zerky. Zerky says, "Do you know any other Hawaii players? You're the first to know besides himself."
Besides my good friend, my best friend, his name is Chosen17. If you haven't seen him, he's one of my mods in my streams. Pretty much him, and I guess DJK. If you've never heard of him, he's also a streamer here that streams quite often. DJK, and before it used to be also Hypnoti Nick, but I think he's kind of busy right now with school, so he didn't stream as much. But he had a pretty good. They both have pretty good followings, and they're both really good streamers.
There you go.
Other than that, though, yeah. Don't get baited by Jubago's video, the one that had the kill marry koala thing. And,
You're right.
You put JMac. He's not even from Hawaii.
Yeah. Good game. So, fail. That's what we call an epic fail in my world.
Yeah, I think he probably would have put DJK, but he couldn't find a picture because
Gotcha.
DJK never uses a camera, right? Or else he
Yeah, I
probably would
know.
have put DJ in there.
Right on, right on. Let's see here. Next one up, we got REGN for Rock says, if you could pick one monster to be added to the fusions, what would it be? Like a staple monster that would help every account. What do you think?
I mean, let's be real. I think the next one's probably gonna be a Sharian. We're due for that. I mean, they leaked the skills for it. I mean, we're due for Ilsharian. If you guys don't know Ilsharian's the light Ifrit. So if you're always wondering, damn, they have every elemental Ifrit except for the light one. That'd be Ilsharian. So they did leak the skills, but I don't know if they'll change it or not. I think the third skill was like an AoE damage dealing skill that's scaled off speed, something like that.
Right on.
But that looks to be the next one. I mean, we don't have a light fusion yet, right? We have a dark, we have a wind, we have a fire, we have a water, but we do not have a light fusion yet. So
Correct.
something in that field.
That does make sense here. Next one from Dazlingo. He says, "What is your favorite monster and why?"
Hands down, Zyros. I mean, I got my Zyros maybe about 6 months ago, and he was kind of the staple. If you've been playing since the beginning, you know Zyros is like one of the most wanted monsters. You know, it doesn't matter if he got a nerf or he got a buff. He was just the most wanted monster back in the day. So he was always my most wanted. I always told my friend, "Oh, Zyros." Every time we saw him, I was like screaming it in the rooms, you know, like I want Zyros, and then finally got it. So he's always gonna be my favorite. More notably, I do like Samantha, the Water Fairy King. I call it Samantha. We checked it on Google, but yeah, it's Samantha. I do like the Water Fairy King, but hands down, all-time favorite will always be Zyros.
There you go. One of the things that X Spice pointed out is, as far as implementations to kind of go along with what we were talking about just a little bit ago, he was talking about implementing some kind of a third version to TOA, something like TOA Hardcore or something like that, where if you like lose a mob, you can't use it for the next level or something like that. I don't know, that might be a little too overkill, but I think we could use another stage. Boy, it send me like raging to no end. If they made it too hard, but regardless of what they've tried to do, if they did incorporate something like that, they generally tone it down to where they need to be. So, what's your thought on like a new TOA hard? And if you were to like do something like that, what would be a stipulation for you? Like, how would you make it real challenging?
I mean, it would make sense considering the scenarios, having normal, hard, and hell stage. So it would be interesting, and it sounds like it actually could be an idea that they might take into consideration. I've seen it in some posts in the past. I feel like I have before. So I think someone has suggested that one already out there. So hopefully they look into that. I think by opening up like a TOA hell, but offering some kind of premium reward. Maybe not just summoning stones. Maybe every stage you get some kind of a different kind of stone. Like maybe like a transmog stone. I don't know, something like that would definitely get people interested in trying to farm it, because not everybody spends money, not everybody can get transmogs. So, and I know the stones are hella hard to get, right? They're hella hard to come by. So that could be something they could look into, some kind of premium TOA. But the thing is that they're gonna have to find that threshold between difficulty. Is it gonna be something that everybody is gonna be able to do, or is it gonna be something more targeted towards the mid and late game players? So that's gonna be the hardest thing for them, because beginner players will feel left out, right? But I think overall that's a really good idea that they might actually take into consideration. Yeah,
there you
very
go.
Soon.
Let's see here. Next one is a question from Angelo Theos. He's a longtime subscriber here. He asks, is it better to farm DB10 until he can get a necro team like I have? Or do you prefer going for like a 3 or 4 minute team? Just with regards to necro and whatnot. What do you think?
One more time, sorry. Let me see. Oh, I see his.
Yeah, he missed the tag. He forgot to put 402. So don't forget, guys. Tag me at Childish402. Don't forget the 402. Otherwise, the tag's not going to go through.
Yeah, in terms of that question, I would go ahead and say keep farming DB10. I mean, a lot of times people rush, even giants. People rush it. They try to get into dragons. Okay, no problem, right? They rush into dragons, and then they try to rush into necro right after that. So I mean, you want to just keep farming DB10. I mean, you look at the late game players, like anybody, any other streamer, any other late game player, they're still farming DB10. They're still farming GB10, which means that you don't feel rushed to go into necro. Don't feel rushed to do raids. I mean, take the time, farm DB10, farm GB10, get those runes, because no matter what you do, you're still gonna go back to them to farm them in the future for progression. So I mean, it's a prime indicator by looking at these other players who continually do DB10, GB10.
Right.
So don't rush into it.
And depending on where you're at in the game here, one of the things that was mentioned in a previous Educate Nominate video with our boy Beastrix here, he talked about one of the things that you can do if you're focused on GB10 and DB10, especially DB10, since between those two stages, you get all the necessary components to make certain runes. You can create, like if you're sitting here needing to farm will runes, but you know that you still need your violent revenge runes, you can still farm DB10 and to get the necessary components to go ahead and craft it. Is it going to be the quickest way to get them? No, not necessarily. You can make a Necropolis team, but that's kind of a bonus thing that we got right now, being able to take advantage of those crafting materials and see if you get lucky and get some runes. And at least with that, if your mindset is I need some DB10 runes or whatever, you can save, basically save all those components so that you can work on will exclusively and hopefully get lucky here. Because Lord knows with what I'm doing right now, I'm not going to get lucky. I might as well go back to DB10 and try to get the pieces of the crafting material. Shoot.
Yeah, definitely true. I mean, that's actually a very good point. I mean, even players that are stuck in Giants don't feel the need to quickly move into DB10 to get those violent runes. As Childish said, you're going to be getting those pieces. You're going to be able to do some crafts for violent runes, and with that, I mean, you're going to be able to start runing your Bella and Veramos, maybe even before you even get into DB10. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Now that we have these pieces out, these materials to craft.
One of your followers said his brother always wants to get a Zyros from summons like you, but he ends up always getting it. So that's funny. He just has he hasn't had the luck here. Let's see. Next question we got. If there is one monster that every player could receive as a gift, what would we choose? Was there one monster that everybody could receive? I think.
What would we choose?
I personally, I don't think there's like really a unit that I would do. I think we already got it. I think that's Veramos. Like Veramos is such a clutch unit right now. Like we shouldn't really be complaining. Like Veramos, complete game changer. I really wouldn't say Comdos needs to owe us anything. I think they did it already.
That's one of the best monsters in the game is Veramos. I mean, I tell people Veramos literally is one of the best monsters. I mean, everybody can fuse it. It's going to be used in your early game, definitely for your GB10. Towards the mid game, you're going to have a variety of uses, not only Arena, Guild Wars, TOA Hard, but even in the late game, you're going to be using him, or you can use him. So great monster. Second thing that Comptos has given us that I think is really good is the Homunculuses. I believe that they fill a niche role in your account. So you might be saying, okay, I don't have all these awesome monsters that I don't have a Necro monster, I don't have a TOA hard monster, I don't have a nuker for Guild Wars or Arena. I mean, with this Homunculus, you're gonna be able to farm it. It's kind of boring, but once you get it, it definitely fills that niche role in your monster box. So I think Homunculus is also one of the best things Comptos has given us.
Yeah, most definitely here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, we got a couple more questions here. Actually, one person had a question, just kind of an off-the-topic question here. If Comptos was looking to incorporate a new rune, or if they were looking to implement a new rune, what do you think like a new set bonus would be that would may find value? Like maybe some of them missing. Brainstorm this one here.
Yeah, I think people were brainstorming this prior to the patch with the runes that are currently out from Elemental Rifts, like attack runes, fight runes, endure runes, accuracy runes, like that. People try to do some theory crafting. Let me try to remember what a couple of those good ideas were. There was a couple that were pretty good. Do you remember any? Childish?
I do not. No, I missed that one. So if that was that one on Reddit, that post?
Probably, yeah. I think it was on Reddit. Yeah.
I missed that post. Yeah.
Let me see.
I'll have to think about that one too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that one.
All right. What do we got here? So, Shu asks, what do you think are the minimum requirements to farm decently on Dragon's B10? What do you think?
What are the minimum requirements? This not really minimum requirements, but I tell a lot of people, again, don't rush into it. Make sure you have glory towers kind of up. I mean, focus on getting those glory towers up. They make a big difference on your success rate, not only in DB10, but could potentially speed up your GB10 as well. Minimum requirements, though, you probably want to have a pretty good pool of runes. You don't necessarily have to have violent runes already or anything like that. I mean, just a big pool of runes to rune monsters in order to get into DB10. Most people will probably be fusing Sigmaris to use that speed, that HP lead in DB10, but it's hard to say the minimum requirements. I would say you would just want a big pool of runes to rune up monsters. Have the monsters for a DB10 ready. I mean, that can include like Beretta, Spectra, Megan. You know, you're already gonna have Varus and Belladon, but you're gonna have all those monsters depending on what you have in your monster box. Will depend on what you use, and hopefully you have the runes to rune them properly to survive DB10. The thing with DB10 is that it's not like Giants. Giants is by far the easiest dungeon there is out there. I mean, you can switch up one monster and still find success. You can switch up a monster and find better success than before. In DB10, you kind of have to have specific teams that work. There's specific teams that are proven to work. It's really hard to switch out just one monster. So, in essence, I would say don't rush into it. Like I said, just keep farming GB10 and keep leveling up your glory towers, and you'll find it a lot easier when you transition into DB10.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, and that's one of the things that you made a really good point that I kind of want to reiterate here is, especially for the people that are creating these save teams and just trying to incorporate speed-based teams, they get really aggravated because they literally have the exact same team as somebody else does, and more or less the runes would have, but they're not as successful. And that key point about the glory shop is huge. There's so many people out there that are sitting here with all these high quality runes, but they literally haven't done anything on the PvP side, and their towers are really, really bad. I mean, what is it? 20% HP, 25% critical damage, 15% speed. Crazy. I mean, the amount that you can get, and let's not forget all the attack towers and the elemental attack. I mean, there's so much more value you could add. I can't get enough of the glory towers. Like, that's the only reason why I don't even mess with like high end arena, because I'm too busy trying to work on my towers. Still, after 2.5 years, still.
Same. Let's be real. We probably have been debated more than one time with scrolls.
Yeah, just once or twice. Let's see.
Just once or twice.
From what you say about Homunculus, is it worth only getting A from all elemental raids, or to start getting the skills for Homunculus? What do you think about that?
I would say you're probably not going to be doing Homunculus until you at least get an A. You're not even A-, to find value in terms of your time, per crystal refill, per energy. You're going to be wanting to get A in the elemental raids. Straight up like that. If you, I mean, there are people out there, I mean, that'll argue, I mean, I just really want Homunculus, or they'll say, like, by the time I get A, I don't need Homunculus, stuff like that. Fine, go ahead and farm it if you're not getting A, but I'm going to tell you it's not going to be worth your crystals and energy. But definitely, you can still farm it. It's going to take you a really long time, but you definitely will eventually get it. My recommendation, though, is at least get an A. That's the rule of thumb on the raids, to go ahead and want to farm it.
Right, and going back to like the original raid, right, the Rift of Worlds. I'm kind of the same way. I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't really like messing around with anything under R4. I feel like everything you get from R3 below, a lot of the upgrades are not going to be too strong. If you're struggling in that R3 range, your rune quality is probably not good, and it's going to improve over the time as you continue to farm DB10 and GB10. So I would not put too much emphasis until you can have a stabilized team in R4. What is your take on that? What do you think?
Definitely. I'm a firm believer. Even for raids specifically, I mean R4. Nothing lower than R4. Don't waste your time and energy doing R1, R2, R3. I mean, a lot of people probably do R3. They're saying, oh, once in a while I get something good, but the rune drop differences, or the grind and enchant drop differences, are so large that you definitely want to just be doing R4 at the bare minimum. Even at R4, you don't want to be investing like every single day all your energy, all your time into R4s. Go ahead and invest that time into DB10, GB10. Farm up those runes, get better quality runes, rune up your monsters, save up the mana, power them up, and then you'll in no time you'll find yourself in R5. So don't focus too much in R4.
Kanem's RC says, would a cap on violent runes be beneficial? I think they've already kind of implemented a new, violent rune style where they're reducing the amount of times you can go. What do you think?
Yeah, after I think though, I forgot, was that a year ago or 2 years ago? I forget when it was, but about a year. Yeah, they implemented a not sort of a cap, but a reduced chance of consecutive violent procs. So even with that, you can see that you can see Theomars still doing Theomars things. You can see monsters violent procking like crazy. So even with that implementation, I think it's at a good point right now, because people argue that they should remove violent runes, but I strongly believe that if they remove that, then there's no factor of surprise. The game would be so simple. You have these monsters, you beat these monsters. You have these monsters, you beat these monsters. Violent is what really makes the game entertaining as well as competitive, by having that chance to proc by having that chance to go again. Even revenge runes, I would say, definitely change it up and make it interesting as well.
Gotcha. Let's see here. I like that. RGN has another question for you. With regards to RTA, do you not get points when people leave during picks? Every time he picks Villagel, people just leave. I haven't tested that one out. Have anybody left while you were picking it?
No, no one has left when I have been picking. I don't think you can leave unless you you just exit out of the game. So it's never happened to me yet. But yeah, that's never happened to me. So I don't know if you get the points or not. That's actually a really good question. It's actually a really good question. I might have to. No, there's no way to test it out.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't think.
Unless it happens to me and I realize it and I know how many points I have prior to it occurring, or I get like one of my friends in like RTA and I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna leave. See if you get points. It's hard to test that one actually. Yeah. But in regards to points for RTA though, I feel like 0 points for a loss is so crappy. It's so crappy. I mean, you spend 10, 15, 20 minutes. I don't know. Sometimes there's long RTAs, but you spend that amount of time, and if you lose, you get 0. That's just sucks so bad. That's why I've kind of theorized with DJ on the strategy that should be used right now for RTA, and it's kind of I believe that you should just try to make a wombo combo. Go ahead and wombo combo. If you lose, you lose. If you wombo combo, you made the RTA fast and quick, right? You didn't spend too much time. You don't really care. If your opponent has monsters that already beat you or comps that are really just disgusting, just get into the fight, leave. Let the person have the win. Totally fine. Tank your points. As soon as you tank your rank, you're gonna be in an easier place to win. Once you get to that rank, you're gonna probably be farming those medals. I'd say right now, guys, focus on the medal farming so you can get those awesome rewards. And in about a month, maybe a month and a half, then try to focus on the rank up. And you'll find that in a month or so, you'll rank up a lot higher than what you're trying to do right now.
Right.
That's kind of the strategy that we kind of devised.
Well said, well said. I got a couple of questions that I'll answer real quick here. Tururu, he says, what do you think about Ariel, Armana, and Chow for GB10? Honestly, I mean, you can use them, but I recommend some of the core units that people generally recommend early on in the game. The Veramos, the Bella, the Bernard, the Shannon, plus like a kind of key unit there to fit that +1 spot. And to Max, I think it's Max Impulse 2K. He has a question saying, I'm failing the DB10 too much. How much attack, speed, attack, crit damage, all that stuff do I need? And then he's using a specific team. I wanted to grab these two questions because both of them can be answered from my Operation Mid-Game series. If you guys didn't see that Educate and Dominate series with Once in Love, a.k.a. Tyler from the Twitch community, he was able to provide you all the statistics, stats and whatnot that you need as far as your teams that need to be, and he talks about a lot of those key units that you have mentioned. So please, after this stream, definitely go ahead and check that out. You'll be able to get all your questions answered there. Who was it? Mr. Pone1 says, what are the required stats needed for Hua in R4? I think he says Hua, but I think a really good question to kind of turn us into, when it comes to your backline damage dealers, Z, what do you recommend for R4 stats in the backline for your damage dealers?
So I don't know if I've recommended R4 a lot, but for the backline damage dealers in R5, so I'll just give you the stats for R5, right? You can go ahead and tone it down for R4, but R5 I suggest 20k HP, 1k defense, and everybody should be aiming for 70% resistance. That's about it. So I guess for R4 you can tone it down, have a lower standard than that standard for R5, but definitely try to shoot for that R5 standard, because if you can shoot for that, eventually when you get there, you're ready for R5. You don't have to re-rune, do anything, right? So if you have the runes, go ahead and shoot for that R5 standard. And if you cut a little short, you should be good since you're still in R4.
Green Ledger says, when moving into the Guardian level arena, what is your opinion on the monsters' runes? Do you need the rune quality? And any monsters, is there a specific Nat 5 for Guardian, or is it a mixture of both monsters and runes? He says he hears us both go a ways a lot. I think we talked about this a little bit, but you could probably refresher here.
Oh, in terms of the Guardian level arena, it's
Yeah.
I'd say I tell people this all the time. The runes will take you further than monsters. Keep it in proportion, but runes will take you further. So I definitely say it's gonna come down to your rune quality once you get to that Guardian level. In the Guardian level, you're probably gonna be you're starting to still make stall defenses, but you're gonna be making stall trap defenses. People will look at your defense, they'll be like, oh, gross. Or people will look at your defense like, I'm gonna attack you, and you set it up to be a trap. But in order to do those trap defenses, you're gonna kind of have to want to be farming necro runes. Those nemesis and will runes will definitely excel and progress you in Guardian level arena.
Gotcha. And quick second here, while you guys are chilling, I just went ahead and turned off the video camera for a second so I could check a couple of the messages here that I'm getting without disclosing the name. Solico, in your opinion, what are some of the underrated and what are some of the underrated and overrated monsters? I'm guessing he means underrated and overlooked monsters for raids. Which ones do you think are, Brian?
Underrated and overrated. Sorry, what was that? Sorry, I missed that.
What are
Underrated and
some of,
overrated monsters for raid.
yeah,
Uh,
underrated monsters for R4?
I think sometimes hard to pick specific ones, but I think a lot of times people underrate those cleansers that are not Lisa. Everybody has that stigma that Lisa is the best cleanser for raid. I definitely agree with that statement that Lisa is one of the best cleansers for raid, but don't underestimate Konamiya. Like Konamiya, Delphoy, any other cleanser, just for the fact that you're probably not gonna have a Lisa skilled up unless you have a lot of food, and skill ups on Lisa will provide her with less turns on her cleanse skill. While when you have Konamiya, I mean, you're probably gonna have it max skilled, right? It's also gonna cleanse, right? So don't underrate all these other cleansers or monsters that are under Nat 4 level, is what I want to say.
Gotcha. Angela Theo says he wanted to say just thanks for the help in general. And when do you guys think this doesn't really make any sense. You kind of have to help me on this, Angelos, but he thinks, when do you guys think will the story map be available? And what do you guys think it would be? So, like, what do you think the new content's going to be?
The new content. I think there was a leak, or like someone did some data mining in the past, and it said something on the line of a new scenario. It's gonna be called like Atlantis or something like that. I don't know if it was data mined and then they dropped the idea totally, but something was data mined, and it kind of had a theme of like an Atlantis theme. So I don't know what that's gonna be, but maybe a new scenario. So with that new scenario, maybe potentially opening up scenarios where you can farm 4 or 5-star fight and stuff like that runes, or potentially a brand new rune they're gonna introduce to the game. So that's what I think. Okay. New scenario, new rune. Yeah.
Question from Zergan Chi. He says, "Can Delphoy solo cleanse R4?" I don't know. I mean, it is a pretty good cleanser, heal on the will, but I think it all depends on the current stats of Delphoy. If you got it on a violent set, if you got a decent amount of speed, like 180 plus speed, you can make an argument for it. What do you think on Delphoy? Think you can solo cleanse?
I think Delphoy definitely can probably solo. I think if you have the right runes, any monster can pretty much solo cleanse. Just make sure you remember Delphoy, Lisa, all these Nat 4s. You have the skill ups. Having the skill ups for the cleanse skill is going to be very crucial for you to be able to do that solo cleanse as you want to do. So just keep that in mind.
Right. Andy from earlier asked. I mean, I'm guessing he's a newer player. He doesn't know how this unit works. But why does Zeratul so overhyped? What do you think?
Why is Zeratul so over? I mean, it's just a dark LD Nat 5, right? It's a dark Nat 5. I mean, just OP. I mean, the fact that he hits multiple times just looks really cool. Other than that, he's actually now arguably one of the worst in the Chimera family. Just for the fact that Rakan get a buff. I mean, Legmaron is Legmaron, right? It's got Squall, and as well as Teor is Teor. And then Sean has kind of a support utility use. So Zeratul might actually arguably be the worst Chimera now. I mean, the coolest one still, though, but might be the worst one, actually.
Yeah. Speaking about the Light and Dark Nat 5s, Green Legend asked, what's your current favorite Light and Dark Nat 5? Like, which one would you want the most? Or at least your favorite?
I would definitely say, for the light, I would say right off the bat, I would choose Tianlang, which is the light panda. Has a lot of use for me in PvP. I mean, a lot of other players, you probably wouldn't want Tianlang if you're still progressing in the game. There's gonna be other monsters that will help you progress a lot quicker, but Tianlang is really good in Arena right now, so he's just an insane monster. I would definitely choose Tianlang, the light panda, for the light selection. In terms of the dark, I would say Gianna. That ability to strip and stun. Gianna is the Dark Oracle. The ability to strip and stun as well as put bombs is really, really insane. So those are my 2 LD that I would choose. I do have 1 LD Nat 5, and that is Julian, the light vamp. I haven't been using him to his full potential. A lot of people tell me, oh, you're wasting him, you're not using him. So I just recently runed him. I'm starting to incorporate him more into my Guild Wars offense, as well as potentially RTA, since we got this new World Arena that just came out.
Right on. Speaking of the new World Arena, we had recently a group of new units come into the mix, the unicorns. APR
Mm.
Audi asked, in your opinion, which unicorn is the best?
In terms of if I could choose any out of all the elements, I would say I believe it's the light one that's the best. The light one is like an upgraded, steroided version of the water one. If you're talking about the main elements, then I would say the water one. Just that fact that when she turns into that human form and she gains another turn, she's gonna already give everybody immunity is just nuts. The light one has the additional effect of being able to cleanse and I think put some kind of defense buff or something like that. I'd have to look into it, but having the ability to cleanse, put immunity on just the fact that changes forms, gets immunity for everybody, and still has a turn to move is just really ridiculous. And overall, I think they just look amazing. I mean, regardless of which one I get, if I ever get one, I think they just look really sick. They look really nice. I mean,
Yeah.
they did good with the unicorns. It's some kind of totally different thing, this transform effect. So I like how Conqueror is starting to do different things and branch out.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are. Let's see. Feeder is Mon. He says, is it worth farming DB10 with 4 to 5 minute runs or DB9 with less time? I don't mind DB9 less time there, especially if you're in at like 1.5 2 minute runs. But ultimately, one thing that I would think about is, are you free to play or not? Are you a person that can successfully clear DB10 in 4 to 5 minutes? And if so, do you care about are you trying to farm all day, or you just have a limited amount of energy? If you have a limited amount of energy and you have a consistent clear for DB10, might as well go for the longer time and just do it like that. But I mean, if you're trying to speed run and you're trying to try to get as many runs as you can possible, you can make an argument for DB9. What do you think?
I think in terms of I'm thinking the long term here, right?
Okay.
You wanna. What is the point of farming dragons, giants, right? It's to get that rune that's gonna be considered a late game rune. I mean, we're farming the same dungeon. You're farming DB10, I'm farming DB10. We're looking for specific runes, right? But if you're able to farm DB10, and to get that, everybody's after that late game rune. That rune you're gonna keep forever. That really good rune. So with that being said, I would definitely say you want to be doing just DB10 because the rune drop difference from B9 to B10 is pretty significant. I forgot what the stats were, but I took a look at it and it's pretty significant. So definitely just focus B10. Like I tell everybody, B10. If you can't do B10, then go back, make your monsters, use your resources to create those monsters, farm up more runes in whatever the previous dungeon you need to do is, giants. If you're not doing giants, then scenarios to get those 5-star runes now that we have that 5-star rune ability in the update. And focus on making that B10 team and getting those runes that will progress you into the late game and runes that you will keep for the long haul. It's probably the most important thing.
Let's see. Again, guys, if you want to go ahead and provide some questions, make sure you tag me. Otherwise, I'm going to miss it. I think we have one more question here. Verosco was listening in to your Light Panda comment. Rune-wise, how would you build them? Would you go Despair, Violent? What would you do with that particular unit if you had it?
I would go Violent for the Light Panda. But definitely, if it's arguable that, you can go any set that you have a lot of good substats in, right? You might not have the most optimal Violent set to put on him. You can go Despair, totally fine. There's no perfect rune set. There's just the most optimal. But definitely Despair is viable on him. Preferably everything on Violent is the best. So I would definitely say Violent if you have the set ready for it. Congrats on Tian Lang if you have one.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah.
Ramir asked a question early on that I missed here. I'm talking about the AI of the monsters and if there's some that should be changed. He's had countless times where he just loses because the monsters only attack instead of using their skills. I think you can make an argument definitely for some of the AIs to be improved. Quite a few, honestly. But I do like the recent changes over the last year. They've really put a little bit of emphasis on some of these attack bar boosters or buffer movers, especially for like DP10. If you're using Bella or Megan, now their AI is a little bit smart, so they'll only use the buffer removal when the immunity's up there. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think the AI right now is in a good position. There's only a couple, notably, that I think they should change. In particular, I would say the Beast Monks, like Ritesh and Kumar. You notice when you fight against them or you're watching the AI of a Beast Monk, they tend to do the third skill or meditate at random times. It doesn't seem like there's a set time for them to use it. Sometimes even when there's monsters that are low or the beast monk itself is low, it'll choose to use Trick of Fire, Trick of Wind, rather than meditate. I mean, granted, it's on violent, and in violence it meditates anyways. But watching the AI is kind of weird. I think they should definitely change it so it prioritizes the meditate, the heal, like it always does on other healers.
Yeah. Lord knows that I've been arguing about the Chandra buff for quite some time, changing that because the AI on that is horrific. Hopefully they can. I mean, I think they just need to straight up rework that skill. It's definitely kind of lackluster compared to its brothers.
What was that you said, Chandra?
Chandra, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely need to buff Chandra. I mean, he has no pretty much usage in the late game realm. I mean, for players in the mid / late game, but in the early game, I mean, I could still see it as a very good monster to use in early Guild Wars, Arena, stuff like that. But they need to change something. And one of the suggestions I was thinking is that he does do that hug, right? Either they got to make the hug unstrippable, which would be something new, right? So hug unstrippable, or they need to make it so when he hugs, everybody gets a buff. In particular, I'm thinking he hugs somebody and everybody gets defense buff. That with that, it might actually make him useful and versatile because he's a good stunner. Everybody runes him Despair Revenge as well. He has a built-in stun on his basic. So I think by giving him that little push, that little bit of that, just a little buff, maybe just defense buff, like I suggested, is enough to make him viable and used again. Especially now with World Arena out, you might be seeing him more for that purpose.
Gotcha. Our next question, before we get into that, let's give a quick shout out to Turba D. He just recently did the host here, so I appreciate you guys stopping on by. Hope you had a good stream. For those that are tuning in, we have a special guest, islandgrown11, aka Z, from his Twitch stream. So if you haven't checked them out, we're just kind of wrapping up the stream here, answering a couple of questions that we have for the community. If you want to have a question asked, please tag at Childish402 so we can get it answered here. We'll probably be doing this for about 5 to 10 more minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Green Legend 88 says, if you had Gianna, how would you build her for your current position in the game? And then what kind of team do you think she would pair best with and why?
I think I would pretty much make her... I wouldn't try to utilize the bomb on her, which is the damage or the stun from the bomb. I would definitely utilize her by making her as fast as I can. And being in there in situations where I know she's going to go first. And being able to strip those will runes, those shield runes, all in one skill, as well as potentially stunning them as well. So I'd definitely build mines decently fast for that purpose.
Gotcha. And then Lyric340 from the Epic Fail community says, what's one thing in Summoners War that you currently find the most irritating, whether it's gameplay, the UI, any particular monsters, or the game itself? What do you think?
What do I find most irritating about the game?
Yeah.
Let's be real, Nat 5 rates. Nat 5 rates are hella terrible. Let's be real. A lot of games out there with similar structures like Summoners War, maybe not as advanced, they have something called a mercy kind of rule. Right. So if you spend enough, or you purchase enough, or you do enough summons, you're gonna get an increased drop rate on that Nat 5. I think that's something that Comptuous can implement, but they're pretty greedy, so they're going to go ahead and not, since nobody's really asking for it, and it seems okay so far. They're not going to implement it, but if they did implement it, that would definitely help a lot of people who do spend a decent amount on the game and are getting unlucky, because on average, you're looking about spending $400 per Nat 5, kind of expensive, right? But even with that average, there are people who spend even more, and they're outliers, and they don't get a Nat 5 within 400 or maybe even 1,000. So they need to create something like a mercy rule, because it's hella irritating to spend money. I mean, you tell yourself, you finally pull yourself to spend money on the game, right? You're like, okay, I'm gonna spend money on the game. It's my birthday. I want to spend money on the game. It is Christmas, and you get nothing, right? It just feels so not worth it. That's probably one of the most irritating things.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I think I had to. I think I was shocked, to say the least, that they finally did it for the pay-to-play players, giving them that natural 5-star with the Transcendent score. I never thought in a million years they would do that.
Yeah, that's real. That was crazy. I mean,
yeah, but ultimately,
were you shocked when it came out?
I was pretty shocked, and like I said, I feel bad for the free-to-play community because again they can't take advantage of it. But ultimately, the rates need to be fixed, most definitely. Let's see here. Got a couple other questions here. Some of you guys have asked 3 or 4 questions, so I want to go ahead and try to get to some people that haven't asked too many questions here. Let's see. Build for Okeanos. What are the ideal stats and speed? This one's going to be a hard one for me to recommend because Okeanos is using so many different ways here. What is the way that you would like to use it? What do you think?
For me,
Yeah.
I would definitely build mines for RTA. That ability to strip and increase cooldown on second skill, as well as having the ability to stun on the third skill, is really good. So I would use him more in the utility type. Some people would build him as a damage dealer, but I would definitely use him more in the utility type. Make him decently fast. Of course, on violent anything, violent will. That's probably what I would do it on, like a speed HP defense, HP, speed HP build, and get him decently fast. So he's able to surprise the opponent. Let's say I let somebody bring a Vela Jewel in. I go ahead and surprise them that my Okeanos is like 200 something speed, right? So I go before the Vela Jewel. I strip that Will Rune it most likely has, and I go ahead and increase the cooldown and kind of screw up his turn rotation. So utility for me, for Okeanos, for the increased cooldown.
This one's a quick question that we can answer. What do you guys think is the fastest way to get those glory points? I believe intentionally drop rank and just, I feel bad for killing noobs, but I mean, fighting the easier fights just to get those free points would be good. I guess you could make an argument for the amount of points that you get, 2 versus 3, depending on what rank you are. What do you think about that?
Going back earlier, I did suggest probably you guys want to just be making a wombo combo team. Go ahead and just make a fun team that you know that you can easily win quickly if the fight gets in, like a double attack booster, Lucian, stuff like that, right? Zyros, whatever, just to wombo him. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. You don't have to be upset. First off, you saved time. It was a quick RTA. You didn't have to spend a lot of time thinking, having bruiser comps, fighting it out with them, and then eventually losing. You made it quick on yourself. And if you get to the point where you see the picks where you probably cannot win at all, even with your wombo combo, just leave. Fully take the tank, go down, and as you continually lose and go down, you're going to find that you're going to be able to win some. So you want to try to clear the 30 wings you get every day. You only get 30 wings. You can't even purchase more wings. So I highly recommend go ahead and tanking. Go ahead and using all wings. So by tanking and doing that fast strategy, you'll find that you'll get more medals in the long run instead of trying to do the long haul, the regular RTA, and then get sick of it and not finish your 30 wings every day.
Okay. Miserable87, does repeating the same stage over and over get you less stuff? I'm guessing he's talking about like Hall of Magic or whatnot. No, I don't think that's the case. It's all RNG, my man. There's not too much to argue there. It's just good luck versus bad luck. Hopefully you can
RNG.
get those nats.
Yeah.
Fat Matt, actually, he didn't tag me, but I was able to read his a question here, and I think this is something that has gotten time and time again talked about here. What's your thought on the current status of accuracy versus resistance in the game? Do you think it works good? Why or not? What do you think?
I think there was a post on Reddit discussing accuracy to resistance ratio, arguing that 85 should be the hardest, like the max resistance, the max accuracy you need and stuff like that. But I think I did the math one time and I stopped. I don't care. I just made my galley 100% accuracy. I mean, even if 100% accuracy doesn't mean anything, just having it at 100% helps me sleep at night when I do arena and stuff. So definitely, yeah, I think there was a Reddit post though that kind of broke it down, but it was pretty confusing to me. Were you able to check that out, Childish, in terms of accuracy and resistance?
I have seen so many different accuracy and resistance polls. Chances are I probably have seen it, but I don't even. There's been too many to kind of like pinpoint here. So let's see here. Oh, I guess one of the questions here that recent video that Jupiter put out talking about the lower level players that are like cheating and getting the high rank in there. What's your current position on the matter?
I didn't see that video. So what was the question? So the question is low rank players achieving high rank. Is this like
right? You got people like level 13, level 17, like cheating, like modding the game and getting up there. He just wanted to know what your take was on it.
I feel like those people are testing out hacks that will allow them to make accounts to get those Nat 5 so they can go ahead and sell it. I think that's the main reason they do it. They're trying to make accounts to sell. But my take on it is I don't really care actually. I'd love to get hit by those guys. I really don't care. In Arena, if you get hit by them, you should take it as a blessing. It's an easy win for you. You can go ahead and attack him back. Maybe he'll attack you back again. I mean, you're just there to farm the glory points, right? So who cares? I mean, they're gonna get banned. You know it. So just take it as a blessing when you get hit by them or something like that in Arena and take those free glory points.
For sure. Real quick here, we're gonna be wrapping up, so I'm gonna try to bust through these questions super quick. Vorosco. He says, how can he reduce R5 time? Does he go back to farming giants or dragons? Should we be stuck in R5? Give it a chance. I mean, you can make an argument for everything. Ultimately, it comes down to improving the runes and the grindstones for those runes. So there's really no quick fix about it. You got to put in the time, get those runes, upgraded, enchanted, grinded, all that good stuff, and then you'll be able to reduce it over time.
Don't forget your teammates as well. They're also
Teammates as
there.
well.
They're factors, right? It's one of the team-based things that Comptuous has released to us. Takes
Gotcha.
takes your team to complete it.
Alrighty, and then I can't pronounce this. Slaro, we'll say his name is how do you go about beating arena defenses that consist of speed lead, attack bar boost, and a strip like Chiwu, Bernard, Galleon, Zyros?
Chiwu, Bernard, Galleon, Zyros. If you look at that team, I mean, it's pretty much the damage dealer is going to be Zyros. I bring in tanky monsters for that. A slow cleave team that has shield runes and will runes. Potentially Chiwu will miss the cleanse, but definitely bringing shield and will runes will help you out. With teams like that, sometimes I actually just skip it. Let's be real. I mean, if it's difficult and you could potentially lose, go ahead and skip it. But if you want to try to beat it, you're either going to want to outspeed it, or you're going to want to have to go like a slow tanky cleave in order to beat that monster. That team, I probably would skip that.
Gotcha. Your thoughts real quick on the reappraisal stones right now? What do you
Insane.
You like them? Insane.
Insane, nutty. I think it's super nutty, nutty that these reappraisals. This was me when I was doing them. I looked at, I thought about it, I did it, and I was like, okay, I think these reappraisals are gonna be okay. My friends like messaging me, the guy who has said move to Asia server with me, who also lives here. He's like, oh, this is insane. I was at work and I was like, look at this guy be talking about. It's probably okay. I mean, you get to change your runes, but it's not that crazy, right? I went home that day, I did it, and I was like, I didn't know. When you reappraise, you have the option to choose your previous your previous stats or the new stats. I thought when you reappraise, it would just change your stats, right? It's totally random, totally a gamble in the dark, but you can select which one you want. And I think that's the factor that really makes reappraisals really, really broken, is the fact that you can still choose the previous or the best stats out of the two. So I think it's a really, really good feature. Definitely doesn't target the early game players, as well as if some of the early mid-game players aren't too educated about what reappraisals can be used for. I definitely suggest saving them. It's a very rare material. You're only going to be able to make 3 a week. Go ahead and save it in specific for runes that are hard to get. The hardest runes to get are Violent, Despair, and Rage, respectable to their dungeons. They have the lowest drop rates. And then second, you want to probably use it on a rune that's a legendary quality, meaning that when you obtained it, it was a 6-star legendary. I don't suggest anything under 6-star, 6-star legendary, as well as on a slot 2, 4, 6. So if you make these standards, you'll be able to find that you'll have reappraisal stones when you get those runes that can be optimized to the max. So just remember that when you guys are reappraising. But yeah, great feature, great feature.
Yep. Turbidee, the recent host, just asked a question with regards to a discussion they had today on stream whether res lead was added or multiplicative to your raid team. He says he's 99% sure it was just added, but others disagree. Wanted to clarify and see what your thought on that was.
Res lead? What do you mean by res lead? Added or multiple? I think it's just added to your team.
Gotcha.
So like he's saying like the 30% resistance lead from Diaz, and how it applies to the team.
Right.
Yeah, I believe it's just added. Turbidee.
Gotcha.
So now you can be 100% certain Turbidee. I hope you had a great stream, Turbidee. I think I hosted Turbidee before I left. Hung out for a little bit, but had to crash.
Yeah. As far as Ein Pineapple Kiwi says, tips for ruining Teora for GB10. I mean, ruining Teora in general is going to be one thing, but ultimately, you can't really say how do you go about ruining Teora for GB10. You got to look at your team in and of itself and what you're trying to break. You can make Teora have the biggest and baddest runes, but if you don't have the proper team to incorporate around that, no, Teora's not gonna be able to shine. So if you're running the speed based team, if you don't have that Galleon, if you don't have some reliable AOE killers like a Lucian to kind of speed up the process, it's going to be really hard. Do you have anything to add when it comes to should they focus on Teor runes in general, or what do you think you would add to that?
Probably would depend on what position he is in the game. My ult on global has a Teor, so I do use my Teor in GB10. But previously, I used the standard team: Variables, Bella, Shannon, Bernard, and Darian. I find that that's probably that is the most consistent GB10 team. That's going to be the first GB10 team I recommend everybody to build. As you get better runes, as you progress, you're going to find that you could slowly eliminate Darian, which was your safety net, because he reduces the damage for your team. You're going to remove Darien, and you're going to slowly implement a damage dealer. It could be if you get a Lucian, if you get whatever damage dealer it is. And in this case, since you have a Terror, you can go ahead and use that in place of Darien. If you're more advanced and you're in the more speed GB10 realm, I would say that you want to root him so that he can clear mobs. I mean, so he can do a decent amount of damage. So the main difference between rooting TR for GB10 in the early stages as well as the late stages is going to be, are you going to be going more of a HP build to survive because you can't kill mobs on the first rotation of your monsters moving, or are you on the speed where you can go ahead and clear everything? So just go ahead and build more damage on your TR. But definitely viable in GB10 as well as DB10. So congrats on TR.
Yeah, buddy. All right. So what we'll go ahead and do is close out the questions for today. Thank you guys all so much for stopping on by and hanging out with us. We're going to be heading on over to Fwa's stream to kind of show us the support as he's doing a little bit of RTA action. Once again, Z, thank you so much for coming on board for my stream. I really do appreciate your time, especially this early in the game. Yeah. All right.
Pleasure.
So thank you guys all for tuning in for this stream. It's your boy Childish and Zlicious with ChildishPlays checking out. Take care. We'll see you on over on Fwa's stream. We are out.